Speed has always been one of the simplest ways to survive a fight in the sky. Some fighter jets are so fast that missiles struggle to keep up. And in 2025, the competition to build the fastest aircraft isn't slowing down. Here are the 10 fastest fighter jets in the world as of 2025. Number 10, McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom II. The F-4 Phantom II can slice through the atmosphere at Mach 2.23, translating to roughly 1,470 miles per hour. This twin-engine beast was designed in an era when raw power mattered more than anything else. With a service ceiling of 62,000 feet, this multi-role fighter and interceptor became the workhorse of American air power during some of history's most intense conflicts. The Phantom II saw extensive action over the jungles of Vietnam and the deserts of the Middle East. Its twin-engine design became emblematic of aerospace engineering from the 60s and 70s, representing an era when designers pushed boundaries without the sophisticated computer modeling we rely on today. Engineers essentially built these machines with slide rules, wind tunnels, and pure determination. What makes the Phantom truly remarkable isn't just its speed, but its refusal to retire completely. Even in 2025, countries like Iran, Turkey, and Greece still operate limited numbers of these aircraft. Think about that for a moment. A jet designed over 60 years ago still provides valuable service, proving that sometimes old-school engineering simply works. Number 9. Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor. The F-22 Raptor represents a quantum leap into fifth-generation warfare, reaching speeds around Mach 2.25 or approximately 1,500 miles per hour. But speed is just one small part of what makes this aircraft absolutely terrifying to any potential adversary. The Raptor climbs to a service ceiling of 65,000 feet and brings capabilities that sound unreal. Stealth technology makes it nearly invisible to radar. Super Cruise allows it to maintain supersonic speeds without afterburners, conserving fuel while staying fast. Thrust vectoring gives it maneuverability, and its avionics suite, well, let's just say it sees everything before anything sees it. This is an air superiority fighter designed specifically for beyond visual range combat. The Raptor can detect, track, and eliminate threats long before they even know it's there. It's not just fast, it's smart, stealthy, and surgical in its lethality. The United States keeps this technology exclusively for itself, with zero exports allowed. When your Air Force operates the F-22, you're essentially bringing a superweapon to any fight. But here's where our story takes an unexpected turn. Most people assume faster always means better. More speed equals more capability, right? Wrong. The F-22 Raptor sits at number 9 on our countdown, slower than 6 other aircraft on this list. Yet ask any military analyst which fighter they choose for actual combat, and almost universally they'll pick the Raptor. Why? Because raw speed stopped being the defining characteristic of air superiority somewhere around 1970. Modern air combat happens beyond visual range. Missiles travel faster than any manned aircraft. Stealth, sensors, situational awareness, and electronic warfare capabilities matter infinitely more than top speed. The MiG-25 and MiG-31 can hit Mach 2.83, but they're designed for one specific mission: high-altitude interception. Put them in a modern multi-domain battle space against an F-22 or F-35, and their speed advantage becomes meaningless when they're detected and engaged before they even know threats are present. Speed still matters, don't get me wrong, but it's become one factor among many rather than the paramount consideration. The fighters topping our speed rankings are mostly Cold War designs, built when speed and altitude were primary defensive measures. Modern fighters deliberately trade some top-end speed for stealth, agility, and sensor fusion. It's a paradigm shift that changed everything about air combat. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this breakdown of the world's fastest jets, hit like and subscribe. We dig into military aviation, engineering, and the stories behind these machines every week. And the top of this list might surprise you. Number 8. IAI Kafir. Here's where things get interesting with a lesser-known speed demon. The IAI Kafir hits Mach 2.3, matching 1,520 miles per hour, with a service ceiling of 58,000 feet. This multi-role interceptor and fighter has a fascinating origin story that speaks to innovation born from necessity. Israel took the French Mirage 5 design and essentially rebuilt it around a General Electric J79 engine, the same powerhouse that drove the F-4 Phantom. The result? Higher speeds, better performance, and a fighter tailored specifically to Israeli operational requirements. When you can't always rely on others for your defense needs, you innovate. The Kafir represents that spirit perfectly. While less common than other fighters on this list, it carved out a niche as an affordable, high-speed option for nations needing capable air defense without breaking the bank. Speed and agility in a package that proved you don't need the biggest budget to field serious air power. Number 7. Mikoyan-Mig-29 Fulcrum. The MiG-29 Fulcrum also reaches Mach 2.3 or 1,520 miles per hour, with a service ceiling of 55,000 feet. This lightweight air superiority fighter became the Soviet answer to American F-16 and F-18, and it answered that challenge impressively. What made the Fulcrum special was its combination of agility, cost-effectiveness, and widespread availability. Russia exported these fighters globally, and they've seen action in numerous aerial conflicts worldwide. Pilots celebrate the MiG-29 for its dogfighting capabilities. In close-range combat, this jet can twist, turn, and outmaneuver opponents with grace that seems impossible for something weighing over 20,000 pounds. The Fulcrum continues evolving with modern avionics upgrades, keeping it relevant decades after its introduction. Russia, India, and multiple other nations still rely on various MiG-29 variants. It proves that sometimes the best weapon isn't the most expensive one, but the one that balances performance, reliability, and affordability while still delivering serious combat capability. Number 6. Grumman F-14 Tomcat. The F-14 Tomcat penetrates through the sky at Mach 2.3, hitting 1,544 miles per hour with a service ceiling of 50,000 feet. But numbers alone cannot capture what this aircraft means to aviation history. Those variable sweep wings weren't just for show. They allowed the Tomcat to optimize its configuration for different flight regimes. Slow and stable for carrier landings, swept back and deadly for high-speed interception. Combined with its potent radar systems, the F-14 became the most feared carrier-based interceptor of the Cold War era. Hollywood immortalized the Tomcat in Top Gun, turning it into a cultural icon. But the real story goes beyond cinema. This aircraft provided long-range air defense for American carrier battle groups when threats lurked over every horizon. After retiring from U.S. Navy service in 2006, guess who still flies them? Iran. The Iranian Air Force operates a limited fleet of F-14s, maintained through a combination of ingenuity, smuggled parts, and reverse engineering. But have you ever wondered what would possess a Soviet pilot to steal one of his nation's most advanced interceptors, deliberately fly it into enemy territory, and hand over all its secrets to the West, knowing he could never return home and that his family might face severe consequences for his actions, all while executing one of the most daring defections in Cold War history that would fundamentally change how Western intelligence agencies understood Soviet aviation capabilities. Wait, let me tell you about Viktor Belenko and the most consequential defection in aviation history. On September 6, 1976, Soviet pilot Viktor Belenko made a decision that would echo through military intelligence circles for decades. He climbed into his MiG-25 Foxbat, took off from his base in eastern Russia, and instead of completing his routine patrol, pointed his aircraft toward Japan. Belenko flew low to avoid radar detection, maintaining radio silence as he crossed into Japanese airspace. He landed at Hakodate Airport in northern Japan, a civilian facility completely unprepared for a Soviet interceptor to appear on their runway. Japanese authorities surrounded the aircraft while diplomats scrambled to manage the international incident. For Western intelligence, this was like Christmas morning. The MiG-25 had been shrouded in mystery, with analysts believing it represented Soviet technological superiority. NATO had given it the reporting name Foxbat and feared its capabilities. When they finally got their hands on an actual example, they discovered something fascinating. The Foxbat was built primarily from stainless steel, crude by Western standards, but effective for withstanding extreme temperatures at high speeds. Its avionics were simple, even antiquated, using vacuum tubes instead of transistors. Belenko revealed that the MiG-25 sacrificed maneuverability and sophistication for pure speed and altitude. It was designed with one mission in mind: intercepting American strategic bombers and the SR-71 Blackbird at extreme altitudes. This intelligence fundamentally changed Western understanding of Soviet air doctrine and capabilities. Number 5. Mikoyan-Gurevich MiG-23 Flogger. The MiG-23 Flogger reaches Mach 2.35 or 1,553 miles per hour with a service ceiling of 60,000 feet. This swing-wing interceptor and fighter bomber represented Soviet innovation in variable geometry wings, enabling versatile flight profiles across different mission requirements. The Flogger saw extensive action during the Cold War and various Middle Eastern conflicts. Those variable geometry wings allowed pilots to optimize the aircraft for different phases of flight. Swept forward for takeoff and landing, swept back for high-speed dashes and interception missions. While mostly retired now, the MiG-23 remains historically important for Soviet-era combat doctrine. Former Warsaw Pact countries, Syria, and North Korea still operate in limited numbers. Number 4. Sukhoi Su-27 family. The Sukhoi Su-27 family, including Su-30 and Su-35 variants, achieves Mach 2.35 or 1,600 miles per hour with a service ceiling of 59,000 feet. The Su-27 family is renowned for exceptional maneuverability, incredible range, and impressive endurance. This aircraft became the foundation for numerous Russian and Chinese fighter designs, including China's J-11 series. When you see an Su-27 perform at an air show, executing seemingly impossible maneuvers like the Pugachev's Cobra or the Kvocher's Bell, you're witnessing aerodynamic design at its finest. These jets have seen combat in various regional conflicts, earning respect from pilots and adversaries alike. Russia, China, India, and other nations operate various Su-27 derivatives. The airframe design is so fundamentally sound that it continues spawning new variants decades after the original prototype flew. That's the mark of truly exceptional engineering. Number 3. McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle. The F-15 Eagle, including the modern F-15EX variant, reaches speeds around Mach 2.5 with a service ceiling of 60,000 feet. But here's what makes the Eagle truly special. The F-15 maintains an undefeated air-to-air combat record. Decades of service, multiple conflicts, countless engagements, and not a single air-to-air loss. That's not luck, that's dominance. This powerhouse excels in acceleration and climb rate. When an F-15 lights its afterburners, it doesn't just accelerate, it lunges forward with authority that pins pilots into their seats. The latest F-15EX model carries an enormous weapons payload and boasts advanced avionics. The United States, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and other nations rely on various F-15 variants. From Desert Storm to countless territorial defense missions, the Eagle has demonstrated air dominance repeatedly. It's the fighter that every other designer studies, trying to figure out how to match its combination of speed, power, and combat effectiveness. But can you imagine what it's like to be one of perhaps 300 pilots in human history qualified to fly an aircraft so technologically advanced and strategically valuable that the United States refuses to sell it to even its closest allies, where every training flight requires security protocols normally reserved for nuclear weapons, and where the knowledge that you're operating a machine representing billions of dollars in research and development creates pressure unlike anything most military aviators will ever experience, all while knowing that in actual combat, your aircraft's capabilities could mean the difference between winning and losing an entire air campaign. Well, that's the reality for F-22 Raptor pilots. The Raptor program cost approximately $67 billion when you include development, production, and upgrades. Each aircraft carries a price tag around $350 million when you factor in everything. Only 187 production F-22s were built, making each one irreplaceable. Raptor pilots undergo selection processes and training regimens that rival astronaut programs. They're not just learning to fly fast, they're mastering sensor fusion, where data from radar, infrared sensors, electronic warfare systems, and data links combine into a single, coherent picture. They're training to fight in contested electromagnetic environments, where jamming and electronic warfare create chaos. They're practicing tactics designed for fighting enemies they never visually see. The psychological pressure is immense. These pilots know that if tensions ever escalate to actual combat, they'll likely be first into hostile airspace. The Raptor's stealth and capabilities make it the aircraft you send when you absolutely must establish air superiority immediately. There's no room for error, no margin for mistakes. It's elite flying taken to its absolute extreme. Number 2, Mikoyan-Gurevich MiG-31 Foxhound. Silver medal position goes to the MiG-31 Foxhound, penetrating through thin air at Mach 2.83, matching 1,900 miles per hour, with a service ceiling of 67,000 feet. This is the successor to the legendary MiG-25, taking that design and dragging it into the modern era. The Foxhound upgraded its predecessor with contemporary radar and electronics while maintaining that terrifying speed. It's among the few fighters capable of launching hypersonic missiles, giving it strike capabilities that extend hundreds of miles. The MiG-31 can intercept multiple targets simultaneously, making it a potent defensive weapon for protecting vast airspace. Russia continues heavily modernizing the Foxhound fleet, recognizing its unique capabilities. That combination of extreme speed, altitude performance, and modern weapons systems creates a platform with few equals for specific missions. When you need to defend enormous stretches of territory against high-speed threats, the MiG-31 remains incredibly relevant. Number 1, Mikoyan-Gurevich MiG-25 Foxbat. And here we are, the fastest fighter jet in the world for 2025. The aircraft that started our defection story, the legendary Mikoyan-Gurevich MiG-25 Foxbat, capable of reaching Mach 2.83 or 1,900 miles per hour, with a service ceiling of 80,000 feet. 80,000 feet! That's over 15 miles high, where the sky turns dark purple and the curvature of Earth becomes visible. At that altitude, there's barely enough air to breathe, temperatures plummet to 60 degrees below zero, and you're above most of the atmosphere. The Foxbat was designed to operate in this extreme environment, intercepting American strategic bombers and the SR-71 Blackbird. Built primarily from stainless steel to withstand extreme temperatures at high speeds, the MiG-25 originated in the 1960s when speed and altitude were king. Its design is crude by modern standards, limited maneuverability, basic avionics, but for its intended purpose, Pure interception at extreme altitudes and speeds, it was brilliantly effective. Today, very limited numbers remain operational with Russia, Syria, and Libya. Most Foxbats have been retired, their mission largely obsolete in modern warfare. But the legend persists. When Viktor Belenko defected with his MiG-25, he revealed Soviet capabilities and limitations alike, fundamentally changing Western intelligence assessments. So there you have it, the 10 fastest fighter jets dominating our skies in 2025. So if you could pilot any of these 10 fighters for just one flight, which would you choose and why? Drop your answer in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this countdown, hit that subscribe button.